अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. हरि ओम्. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishnaaya. Welcome to the 77th week of the readings and reflections on the life of Holy Mother. This is the book that we taken up for reading, Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi, written by Swami Gambhiranandji Maharaj. We are in chapter 22, page 283. Next morning, Lalu, the fisherman of Satbere, came and said, "Dear aunt, I shall sing some Baul songs." The mother did not agree and pointed out various inconveniences. But Lalu assured her that he himself would get together the canopy, the lantern, and such other paraphernalia for which none else need take any trouble. The mother still pleaded, "Lalu, why should you invite the ridicule of people? Much better will it be if you simply sit before the goddess and sing to her a few songs." But Lalu stuck to his plan. In the evening, he spread out the canopy, hung up the lantern over the long robe of the boughs, and faced the audience with a small drum dangling from his shoulder. And then he sang some humorous songs, made all roar with laughter, and left the place triumphantly. The mother's health deteriorated soon after, and in January 1918, her temperature rose very high. As soon as Swami Sardananda knew of this, he started with his brother, Dr. Satish Chandra Chakravarti, Dr. Kanjilal, Yoginma, Golapma, Sharla Devi, and others, and reached Jairambati on January 21st. There is a note here for Sarla Devi. As a little girl, she came to be known to Sister Nivedita and Sudhira Devi of the Nivedita school. At the age of 9 or 10 years, she met the mother for the first time in a rented house on the Bagh Bazar street. And from 1913 up to the passing away of the mother, she accompanied and served her at various periods and in diverse places as opportunity arose. The mother said that she would take Kanjilal's medicine. That done, she recovered soon. But perhaps the greater result came from the presence of her beloved ones, the Swami and his companions. By getting them down to stay near herself, and by being constantly engaged in thoughts of their comfort, she shook off the disease. Some little trouble cropped up at Jairambati at this time. To suppress all political activity in the country, the government had arranged for a strict and elaborate police vigilance. They watched the movements of all people and came to the mother's house to note down the names and whereabouts of all newcomers. Among the mother's disciples could be counted some internees. Moreover, the frequent visits of East Bengal people raised the suspicion of the police all the more. In the police records, the mother's house was noted down as Mataji's ashrama, which required close attention. The Kualpara ashrama too shared a similar fate. This caused great anxiety to the mother, and to remedy this, Sri Vibhuti Bhushan Ghosh, a disciple of the mother, brought to her house a superior police officer from the district headquarters to have personal acquaintance with the actual state of things. The officer was highly impressed by the courtesy and affection of the mother, and when taking leave, inquired whether she was afraid of the police. Vibhuti Bhushan tried to evade the question just to save the mother from giving an unpleasant direct answer. But she said frankly, "There is fear, to be sure, my son." The police officer promised to ease the situation. And as a matter of fact, the police relaxed their surveillance after this visit. They now remain satisfied with noting down names and collecting general information. And the local sub inspector of police held the mother in great honor. When Swami Sardananda arrived at Jairambati, the village watchman, that is Chaukidar, came to note down the names of the whole party. And lest any negligence on their part should embarrass the mother later on, Swami Sardananda saw to it that all information was scrupulously supplied. The Swami had planned to take the mother with him to Calcutta, but the mother declined. And so he left Jairambati, leaving behind Sarala Devi for the mother's service, and another devotee to accompany the mother to Calcutta in case she should change her mind. But when, even after a fortnight, there was no indication of such a change, this devotee also took leave of her. On the eve of the Shivaratri day, sometime in late February 1918, the village watchman Ambika came with the information that on the morrow, the sub inspector of the Shiromanipur police station would visit the mother's house. Sometime earlier, Swami Jnanananda, who had been suffering from malaria, had gone to Katihar to Dr. Agornath Ghosh's house to be treated by him. While staying there, he got information of the mother's illness at Jairambati and visited her there. On his return to Katihar, the police falsely concluded that Swami Jnanananda was none other than a brother of Dr. Agornath, who had been absconding for political reasons and was now living incognito in the doctor's house under a monk's garb. And thus, a silly but vigorous investigation was set in motion for ascertaining the antecedents of Jnanananda. Ambika said that the talks at the police station indicated that the sub inspector's visit was only a part of that inquiry. That in itself was a simple affair, but nobody could be too sure of the whims of the all powerful police of those dark days, particularly in the face of the Sindhubala incident, which had happened in a nearby village some time back. But though mother's household was thus perturbed over the prospect of a visitation from the police, in the mother's face could be seen absolute peace and assurance, and others too kept fairly calm for the being. At night also, the mother sat by her sons at mealtime as usual, and she seemed totally unexcited. Fortunately, Sri Manindranath Bose, a lawyer of Arambagh and a disciple of the mother, came to see her the next day. The mother was pleased to see him, and her attendant told him everything concerning the forthcoming police inquiry. The sub inspector came at sunset with his constables, and Manindranath entered into a conversation with him. In the meantime, the mother sent word from the inner apartment that she had arranged for a little refreshment for them. So Manindranath and the sub inspector went in, saluted the mother, and ate heartily what she placed before them. The police officer was overjoyed at the mother's tender consideration for him and ended the investigation in a most friendly manner. So, dear devotees and friends, welcome to this Saturday's readings and reflections on the life of Holy Mother. Today is the 77th week of this of our readings and reflections. So in the beginning, in the chat section, of course, I wrote down the Passover greetings because today is Saturday and Jews consider this day as very important in their religious life. That's why the greetings are given. But yesterday, it was a Good Friday. Since yesterday there was no class for all of you, so I could greet all of you. So today, I am greeting all of you for the Good Friday also. This Good Friday, as such, brings up certain thoughts on the last days of the Lord Jesus Christ. You know, when we read Sri Ramakrishna's throat cancer and the sufferings thereon, and his last days at Kashipur, somehow at that time of reading, or later when you think of the situation that Sri Ramakrishna had to pass through, you feel very, very sad. Why do you feel very sad? Because we have great love for Sri Ramakrishna. Even though we intellectually at least understand that he was an incarnation of God, yet how much sufferings he has to undergo. That very thought of his sufferings make us very sad. In the same manner, when you think of the last few days of Lord Jesus Christ and how he spent those days in utter suffering, but without opening his mouth, without telling that he is suffering, that brings great tears in our eyes. When you see those incidents that happened, as we all know, say at least the overall story of Jesus Christ is almost known to all of us. But according to the accounts that found in the Gospels, in the four Gospels, that one of the disciples of Jesus, by name Judas, he betrayed Lord. How he betrayed? The people, that the priests and the other people who were against Jesus, they somehow found out this Judas and tempted him with 30 silver coins. And this fellow, just for the sake of 30 silver coins, he agreed to them, okay, tomorrow you all come with me. I will take you. You all be behind me. I will go there and kiss the Lord. From that you must understand who is among the group, who is the Jesus. Now, so the warriors, the police officers, in those times, so they were all sent by this priest of this class who wanted to find out some punishment to be given to Jesus. That's what they were thinking. But what punishment is not yet found out. But they wanted to know who is the Jesus, and we have to arrest him. First, we have to arrest him and produce him before the magistrate. So for that, they planned. And this Judas, finally, for 30 silver coins, he agreed to betray. And he went, and behind him, these warriors also went, the police force went. And when he went and kissed Jesus, Jesus was really surprised. How is it suddenly today he's kissing me? But then he saw, to everyone's surprise, the police officers came and arrested him. And they took him to the father-in-law of the high priest, because he was also one of the judge. They took him first to them. And then he said that, you see, I will interrogate Jesus. And after the interrogation, he should be sent to the high priest, and there is a type of jury in those days among the Jews. It is called as Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin council, it's a council of some jurors. So that he has to be produced. That is what he ordered. So naturally, the whole thing, party, took him. And there are many witnesses were there. So in the interrogation, all the witnesses were all against Jesus. Each one spoke something or other against him. And then finally, the high priest started interrogating him. And whatever he is telling, Jesus is not replying to him. He is keeping mum. So he got angry. And in that anger mood, he, he asked Jesus under a solemn oath, you must now declare who you are. So he is asking the question, I adjure you by the living God to tell us as you the anointed living, are you the anointed one, the Son of God? That's what he's asking. Are you the Son of God? He has to tell on the oath of the living God. Now, this is a very tricky question. So, if he says yes or if he says no, both can lead him to any result. So he was thinking, how can he deny while he is really the Son of God? And how can he accept that he is Son of God so that they will consider immediately as a blasphemy? So Jesus was keeping quiet. And not only quiet, he, after some time, keeping mum for some time, he came out with an answer. Very ambiguous answer. What was the answer Jesus gave? Is very interesting. He said, you have said it. He put the whole thing on his. He said, you have said it. And the high priest immediately understood the meaning of the sentence. And he said, oh, that means you are accepting that you are the anointed Son of God, which is nothing but blasphemy. So the punishment for the blasphemy, what is the punishment? So he asked the Sanhedrin, this council of jurors, what punishment you want to give to him? Because are you concurring with my opinion? The high priest asked. Then all the jurors said, yes, we concur with your opinion and we want to give him the sentence of death. That means the death sentence. Now, in that society at that time, you may pronounce the judgment, but then it has to be executed by a certain procedure. You cannot just the jurors come and give a sentence and he can be carried out. No, it's not like that. So what they did, when this happened in the evening, the morning came, and that was the Friday morning. The whole assembly brought Jesus to the Roman governor, because in those days, the Jerusalem, etc., these areas were governed by Romans. They came from Italy, and then they were ruling. So Jews were ruled by the Romans. So this Roman governor was there, Pontius Pilate. He was there. So before him, he was taken. And you see the miracle of the God, how it happens. Just before going to the court and sitting there, his wife came to him, this Pilate's wife. She came and told, yesterday night I had a dream. It was vivid dream. Then he was readying himself to go out. At that time, the lady comes and tells about the dream. And he asked, what is your dream? She said, I dreamt of Jesus, who came in my dream. And she says that, what was the dream? I'm reading it to you. She said that I found him a man of God. Don't proceed with him for any punishment. That is what she said. And then, but with that idea only he came now. So Pilate started questioning Jesus. All the interrogation was done, but he didn't find any basis for that type of sentence. What is sentence? Death sentence. He didn't find it any basis. So at that time, he asked one of the questions he asked Jesus was, "From which place you are coming from?" So Jesus replied, "From Galilee." So the Galilee king, there are small, small kings were there, kingdoms were there. The Galilee king was at that time, he has come to Jerusalem for the Passover ceremony. As today is Saturday, Passover ceremony. To participate in the ceremony, he has come all the way from Galilee. So he said, "Let this man be sent to that king of Galilee, Herod. Let Herod decide." So the whole party, Jesus was taken to in presence of King Herod. What Herod did, he also asked the high priest, "What you want to do?" They said that we want to give him a death sentence. That's all. But then when Herod himself questioned Jesus, what was the matter? He found he was completely normal and there was no blasphemy he has done. So the charges were not proved. So Herod also was not willing to give him any sentence. But then the Roman Empire is watching him. If you want to keep up his position as a king of Galilee, then what he should do? He should be going along with the high priest opinion. Otherwise, he may lose his job. If the high priest goes and recommends this man should be taken out, then he may lose his job. For the fear of losing the job, he said, "Okay, let Jesus be given the death sentence." So he gave the death sentence rule. He said, then he asked the people, "What do you want him to be done?" They all shouted in one voice, "Crucify him." So the entire crowd shouted, and then Herod could not do anything. He said, "Okay, crucify him." That was it. So what he did, then he was taken back to Pilate. Said, "The judgment has come from King of Herod, whom the Pilate referred to him, and now Pilate gave him a flogging to Jesus." You see the last days, how terrible days. He was flogged and then brought him out to the crowd to release him. That is what Pilate was thinking, that by giving a flogging, these people will become calm and quiet and Jesus be released. But no, but the crowd went on shouting, 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 "Crucify him, crucify him." And there was no other way because he claimed to be the God's son. So that is the only sentence he is befitted. So let him be crucified. And that's how that last day of Jesus came. And they put him onto the cross and they took him along with the two hardened criminals who were caught at that time. They were also crucified along with Jesus. Three people together were crucified. So these hardened criminals also were kept together with him. And one of them, of course, was very, very apologetic and was feeling remorse that no, I should not have done the sin. But the other one was quite the other different way, and all the three were crucified. So this last day, that's the Friday yesterday that went, this is a very sad day. When you read that, how the Lord, even though Lord's Son has come into this world, and then he was speaking only about God, and that person was crucified. And how sad it was. The description says that when he was crucified, for 6 hours after that, as if dark clouds have come down on the earth and covered the whole place. And in the temple, where the high priest was there, the curtains, long curtains were there. The curtains tore on its own from top to bottom. So some of these, apashakunam, we say, in Sanskrit we call it apashakunam, that is evil omens that happened at the time. So when you see these things, you feel sad. What a tremendous tragedy, what a great sacrifice Lord has done. And in every incarnation you find these type of sufferings are there. Even incarnations cannot avoid the sufferings, so that they want to teach us. In our lives also, we have sufferings a lot. But then, because sufferings are there, should we lose the faith in the Lord? Should we lose faith in our God? No, we shall not lose. As they have shown the way, that's why they have come and they are showing one by one, they have come. Everybody, you see, lots of suffering. That's why Sri Ramakrishna sometimes jokingly would say, you see, Sri Ram is an incarnation of God. But you see, getting into the human body, he had to suffer. He had to go without his wife. And he has to weep and cry for his wife in the forest. You see, what a terrible thing. Wonderful prince he was. He was about to be given the kingship. Next day morning, Dasharatha was to be handing over to him the kingship. But the day evening, he had to leave. You see, such a great sufferings. In every incarnation, you will find the portion of sufferings are there. Nobody can avoid that. So, as a human beings, we all come with their suffering and our sufferings. There is a big difference. What is the difference? Our sufferings come because of our own karmic laws. Mind you, it's very important to understand this. Because I have done some karma, and those are all some bad karma I have done. So I have got. So there are lot of incidents that has happened in Shaivism. A great saints came. So one of the fellow who was born in a good family, had very good education, had all wealth that is required for him to lead a life, but was struggling with the stomach pain. So the sage comes and tells him how the stomach pain could not be cured, because in the previous life, though he did lot of good works, for that only he had good life this birth. But then to increase his profit as a merchant, he mixed stone particles along with the rice grains and sold it. So when you have 500 grams of rice, if you take up, and if you add some stones, naturally you can sell 450 grams rice as 500 grams rice, and you earn money. So in that way he says sold. And now, and how many people must have eaten that and must have felt the stones on their mouth and would have gone into their stomach, and they would have suffered all the sufferings of the people that suffered because of his mixture of stone particles with the rice. This birth he is suffering from the stomach pain. So these are all documented in the Shaivism literature. So today morning only I was reading this. You see how the law of karma comes. But with the incarnations, this is not the case. They make these sufferings for themselves as an example for us, so that we can learn lessons from them. So that's a great Good Friday. I'm seeing in the chat a devotee from South Africa, Avita, has written, please enlighten us on Good Friday, please. Okay, I think you must have been enlightened now. I have told you the story of the Good Friday. So, in the passages that we read today, that both the two passages that very important are that mothers dealing with the police interrogation. The same way as Jesus was interrogated by the police at that time, here also the police are entering into mother's house, mother's ashram. In the police records, of course, they have written as mother's ashram. This mother's ashram was, people of the mother's ashram were interrogated again and again by the police. And the police put this place and also Kwalpada ashram under their surveillance. That means anybody, new people coming and staying there and going out must be reported to the police. So the constable, sometimes the constable or the chowkidar of the village, chowkidar means watchman. The watchman of the village would come to the ashram and he will take down the names of the people. Say today 15 people are there, he's taken down the names and their date of birth, etc. And then he'll go. Suddenly, because it's a small village, people will know that some people have come from Calcutta. Immediately you will come and ask them, how many have come extra? How many have left? So with the previous list, you will always compare and add or minus. So this list is always updated. And that was very necessary for the British government because they suspected some of these people who are coming and taking refuge at mother's feet are really revolutionaries. They have done some mistake. What mistake? Either they would have burnt something or thrown something or some type of offense according to the law they must have made. They don't consider, British won't consider they are all freedom fighters. You see, but a opinion was there among the freedom fighters that merely asking the British to give us freedom, the freedom can't be obtained. You have to be revolutionary. So the thought of revolutionary, and that attracted many young men. And of course, some of the revolutionaries later understood the futility of engaging in that type of activity, then came to mother and was convinced by mother. And then they stayed and they became a brahmachari internees, as Swami Gambhiranji says here, brahmacharis. And after spending some time as a brahmachari, they were given sannyas. So, like that, also many Swamis were there. My own guru was one of the revolutionaries at that time. So, you find that so police is naturally doing its duty according to the government's order. So, but if the police is coming and inquiring, it gives a tremendous fear in the minds of the devotees. So they all would. But then, what was the important point for us to learn here? That though the mother's household was thus perturbed over the prospect of a visitation of a sub inspector, constables, etc., in the mother's face could be seen absolute peace and assurance. That is the beauty. Mother was never perturbed. All other people were perturbed. Oh, something is going to happen. See, police is not considered as a very good force, to come into your house. So, in the normal citizens' place, police is said to be in relation with the criminals. Now, I am not a criminal. I am leading a very normal, dharmic life. I am doing whatever work I am doing, and I am earning my money, and I am eating and taking care of my family. That's all. I am not going out and doing anything outside. So, with a normal person's living, a police is coming to his house base. It is a big thing. I have seen also in villages where they used to fear police so much because if police suspect a boy and takes him to the police station, he will be thrashed and thrashed and thrashed. No mother can see that. And there are cases, every time in the history, if you find in the criminal procedure code, you find that how in the police station itself, deaths have happened because of the thrashing by the police. So you know that in every country this is happening. So police is said to be a agency of the government that is to be feared. So naturally, all the people, they were, what was the reason? One Dr. Agornath was there. Swami Gyanananda, he was sick. So he was advised by mother only, you go to Calcutta and stay with Dr. Agornath. Agornath will cure you. So he went there. So Gyanananda came from Agornath's house. This information has gone to police. Now police have got the information, this Dr. Agornath's brother, who has become a revolutionary and is moving outside. He was absconding. He was not available for the police capture. So he was absconded. So that man has come back to his brother's house and staying there in the garb of a sannyasi. A monk's garb he has put on. That is this Gyanananda. Gyanananda is not his brother, mind you. But then that is the rumor that was going on. So police was very much upset. So they said, when they got the information, in the meantime, without knowing this happening, Jnanananda, who was taking treatment there with Dr. Agornath, learned that mother was sick at Jairambati. So he came simply to look after mother and see mother because she was sick. It's just a courtesy call. So he came because he had great devotion to mother. So when he came there, this rumor spread in such a way that the police falsely concluded that the brother, the absconding brother of Agornath, is this man. So that is the political reason. So so it is a silly, but then vigorous investigation was set in motion. So they came to Yananandaji, sat with him, and started questioning him several questions to find out whether he is the brother of Agornath or not. So all those questions were going on. If you question somebody, who are you, where are your parents, where do you come from, etc., it's a simple affair. But this was not so. This case, the the here Gambhiranji writes here, though says that the whims of the all-powerful police in those dark days. See, that is very important. In those dark days, the whims of the police matters much. You cannot question the police. If they decide to do something, they will do. So police has taken the law into their hands. Judiciary was not necessary. Only when you are arrested, you are taken to judiciary. See, then judiciary has got its own process of interrogation, etc. Witness and so many things are there. But here, police itself decides that you are the offender and they give you the punishment. These are called in modern days, they call them encounter. In encounter death, they call it. So if a person cannot be brought to the court of law, then what you do? You do encounter, finish him off. So that is how the police rules are framed. So in those dark days, it is naturally they were all afraid. But then, at the night, when the police has gone away, mother came and sat by her sons at the meal time. And as usual, she was completely unexcited and then made them give the nice food, etc., and then calmed everyone. See, this calming effect of the mother was very necessary at that time. And also, when the sub-inspector one day wanted to come and inquire mother also, it's all right. But luckily at that time, one lawyer from Calcutta, who is a devotee of mother, he had come. So he actually managed the whole show by telling to this police sub-inspector, because sub-inspector is a higher rank, not the constable rank. So then he fed him and he told him, mother has arranged some sweetmeats for you. Would you come and have some snacks? So he took him inside and mother was seated there. And in presence of mother, he sat and mother served him all the sweetmeats. He was very happy. And Swami Gambhiranji, the author, says, the police officer was overjoyed at the mother's tender consideration for him and he entered the investigation in a most friendly manner. You see, this is the beauty of that friendly manner it is being ended. So that way the problem was resolved. But then when I was first reading the first passage today, one very interesting, very amusing incident also was there. What was that amusing incident? The incident was that one of the fishermen of Satbedi village, his name was Lalu. The Lalu had come to Jairambati to meet Holy Mother. So a simple village man and a fisher folk, and they sing, dance, and they speak in a very innocent way. So everybody takes a liking to them. So Lalu, when he used to come to Holy Mother was always pleased with him. But this time, Lalu is telling Holy Mother, Ma, I have come to Jairambati and I will be with you for some days. But tonight, I want to sing bowl songs. This singing bowl song is all right. There is nothing problem with that bowl song singing. But then mother is telling him, no, no, no. Who is he? There are a lot of arrangement, paraphernalia has to be done. I don't want all those things. He is not allowing. He's telling, dear aunt, he's not even calling her mother, he's calling her aunt. Dear aunt, I shall sing some bowel songs, so allow me. This is what he's telling. So mother is telling again and again, you see, and then she explained to him, you see, we have to bring a lantern because it will be in the night only, and then you have to have a dress, the bowel dress you have to put on, and then you have to take the instrument in your hand, and then you have to sing all those bowel songs. So this, and then you invite people, all the villages will be invited. And then, Lalu, why should we invite the ridicule of people when they come and they may not appreciate your bowl songs, and then they will go on criticizing and ridicule will be there. So leave it, not now. But then he did not hear mother's words. He went on and made all the arrangement. He took the lantern and he wore a long robe of the bowls, and then he had that instrument in his hand. So this bowl is something, a wonderful word that has come in our passage today. So we must see also, we must know also what is the culture of Bengal. So in the culture of Bengal, one of the important aspect of the village level music tradition is this bowel music tradition. See, when I first time went to Belur Math as a brahmachari from Kanpur, so I attended the public celebration of Thakur's birthday. You know that Master's birthday is celebrated in 2 days. The first day it is celebrated as the Tithi Puja day, and the following Sunday of the same week, that is celebrated as a public celebration day. So there's a big difference between these two celebrations. In Tithi Puja Day, the whole thing is practically centered on Sri Ramakrishna's temple, where puja will be done, the special puja will be done, havan will be done, and then people will come and have lots of prasad. So that everything is centering around the temple, and readings from the gospel, like there's so many things will be there. But then the public celebration in the same week, whatever day the Tithi Puja falls on the same day, Sunday, the public celebration will be done. The public celebration I saw in my life for the first time as a brahmachari. So I was going around and round and round in the campus of Belur Math. How much people come? More than 2.5 lakhs people come in one day from morning to night. And then at some time or other in the day, you will find you will not be able to walk on your own. If you stand, you are swept away by the crowd. The crowd comes so much. And the whole day, the Belur Math authorities have fixed certain programs, say 15 minutes program, 10 minutes program, half an hour program, like that, one after another, programs galore. And such wonderful programs are there. So I was interested to see what type of the Bengali cultural activities will be done. So the children from our own centers, school centers will come and enact dramas. They are all in Bengali language only. I was just started learning the language. So it was very sweet for me. So I used to sit and listen to this talking, how these young small boys talk and how they sing. And then there was one item, bowel songs. So when I read that item, I was thinking, what is this bowel song? I have not heard any monk singing. So far in the 5 years I stayed in Kanpur, no Swami used to sing a bowel song. But then this bowel song, something seems to be very, what is this? It's a new thing for me. So I inquired some old Swamis. So they told in a very, they in one line they dismissed me. It is a village type of song, like that they said. Later only I came to know what is bowel song. So much of importance is there in Bengal. Not only Bengal, the eastern portion of Jharkhand and some portions of Odisha and some portions of East Bengal in those days, East Bengal, now Bangladesh. So in these places, you will find this Baul community was thriving. This thriving Baul community was once upon a time, there was a great number. And these bowls, this music itself is has become a cult music of the bowls. So you have heard about the classical music, the Hindustani classical music that is still followed in Bengal. And some of our Swamis are very expert in Hindustani classical music. So likewise, you find likewise classical music is being practiced by the elite group of the society. Then there are folk music, like fishermen, like the lower strata of the society where they stay, they have the folk music. That is another type of music. But this baul music is neither the elite class music nor the folk music. It is a music specifically done by the bowls in a particular tempo. It starts slowly, where there will be no tala. And then with the tala, the music goes on. And then it goes into such a frenzy of speed at the end. So actually, the Babel word itself, etymologically, I'm telling how it word came. It came from the original word batula. Batula means madcap. That is the word that is used in Sanskrit. So in Bengal also it is used batula or a vyakula. Vyakulata means one who is very anxiously awaiting, one who is yearning. That yearning is called vyakulata. Vyakulata, Sri Ramakrishna also speaks about that. So if a person is so fond of God, who is inside me, then I become madcap. I am mad after him. I am searching for him. These Baul songs, if you hear it, them, they all centered around God who is within the body. Not some God is being worshipped in a temple or some God outside in the nature. No, not in that way. The Baul tradition is to worship God within one's own body. So the body is very important. So, how the body functions, how the body has got emotions, all those things are brought out in the beautiful music of this bowl. So, one upon one, if you take them songs and you will see this music, this traditional social norms are even they are even scolded. That is, the traditional social norms are even discarded by the Baul community. Why? Because you go with a certain societal norms, and these norms require you to behave in a particular way. But these people, Bauls, they behave in a crazy way. That's why their name is Baul, you see. So they don't want to go according to the tradition of the societies, which is the norms of the society. That's why they are little different from this society. So the elite society enjoys this. Even Rabindranath Tagore has great, he was influenced greatly by these Baul songs. One day Rabindranath, a young man, when he was sitting outside in the veranda on the easy chair, at that time he saw a beggar coming and pleading. So the mother came and gave that beggar some food. But then mother did not go inside. She said, sing some song for us. Like that she told. So that beggar sang some songs, beautiful songs. And Rabindranath was eagerly awaiting the songs and he was listening to that. And it had great effect on Rabindranath's personality. He used to write poems, write songs, and he started his own method of musicology also. That music is called Rabindra Sangeet. Rabindra Sangeet is not exactly like classical music of this Karnataka, this Hindustani music. No, and it's neither a folk music nor a Baul music. But then, hearing this Baul music, he made his own Rabindra Sangeet, a different style of music he made. But then there are traces of influence of this baul music in great quantity in his music. So the researchers, those who do research on the musicology, so they say Ravindranath was greatly influenced by the baul music. Not only the music, the tune, composing, etc. I'm telling the songs meaning also. That's why Rabindranath many songs are so wonderful, that thinking about God who is present within oneself. So these bowls, they are not, you may say, because they are taking the name of Hari, they are Vaishnavas. So they are part of Hindu society. But strangely, these bowls would never visit any temple. And they put on a long overcoat like. It is called alkala. So alkala would be there, that long overcoat. Sometimes the overcoat is in saffron because there are two kinds of bowls are there. One is ascetic bowl and then householder bowl. So the householder bowls, they are very limited family. One child, two child, that's all. And then they will live as a, not as a husband and wife, but as a sister and brother. And there is another group which lives at a young age, the family life, and then they become monks. So they are called ascetics. They are not under the 10 Dashanami Sampradayas of Shankaracharya. No. But then they remain as ascetic. They don't keep any contact with women folk. So these ascetic monks, they go for begging. They go for begging house to house, and then they will say, please, Magi. At that time, the house lady will ask, you sing some baul song. So one or two songs he would sing, and he would have his meals, and then he would go away. One time a day, they eat the ascetic bowls. So this tradition, which is in a upstart of the normal tradition, so this attracted a few people who became and they bowls. And with this alkala, they have a necklace of beads of tulsi. So tulsi beads they put on because they are Vaishnavis, you see. They don't put on a Rudraksha mala. They put tulsi mala. And also they have an instrument in hand. It is called single string instrument. Single string. It's like a guitar, but a single string guitar you can say. And it's called ek tara. Sometimes four strings instrument also they use for singing, and that they call it do tara. And their accompaniments are many. Dholak will be there, dhol will be there, khol will be there, then kanjani will be there. All this with all these things, somebody will play flute also. With all these accompaniments, when the baul music comes on, you can't keep the public quiet. That is what happened in Belur Math when I sat in the big pandal where thousands and thousands of people, minimum 5,000 people would be there, sitting there. And they were all waiting for the baul sangeet to listen to that. One after another program was over. And then the baul person came. What a gigantic personality. He has got a turban on his head, very colorful. And I told you that alkala, he was wearing the alkala in the ochre color. And he has got that instrument in his hand. And he is going from this place to that place on the stage. He's walking, sometimes running. And the voice was so wonderful. And who he was, his name was Purnadas Baul, who became a name to be taken in the morning hours by every Baul. There were, of course, criticism also was there. This Purnadas Baul, he went to America also. And he, wherever Bengalis groups are there, he went in all over the world, Japan and other places, Europe also he came. And he came to several places. And particularly in America, he became very friendly with the American, one baul singer. These Americans, in those days, I'm talking about 80s. So in those days, there were great music bards were there in America. And they had, this Purnadas was considered to be the present day king of bowls. And in America at that time, He was even called as a Bob Dylan of India. Like that, they used to praise him. And this Bob Dylan and Purnadas Baul, they met and they made some fusion music with the Baul song and an American type of folk song. And those all became hit, in those days. So even now, many people listen to Bob Dylan, I hear. So this with this type of instruments, this bowls, this country dance, country music, they used to be there. Once I was passing through this Bardhaman district in Bengal, so with the devotees in the jeep, and then suddenly I saw a huge river passing, and there was a bridge. So I asked the devotee, "What is this river?" He said, "Maharaj, this river name is Ajoy River. Ajoy means and unconquerable. This river name is Ajoy River." Even I hear that the Megasthenes, who came from the Greek and visited India, in his notes, he has mentioned about this Ajoy River. So it has got such a great cultural value. So this Ajoy River came and the water was full. So I told the driver to stop the vehicle near the bridge. And then I went into the bridge. And nearly up to the middle portion of the bridge I went. And then I stood there and was looking. And all the devotees were with me. And the sound of the water was such, it was so pleasing to the ears. I told the devotees, "Do you hear the murmuring sound of the waters?" For me, the bowl singing and bowl playing that ektara instrument, that type of sound I am hearing, that type of music is now being played by the waters. I said, then everybody quietly closed their eyes and then listened. And many of them said, "Yes, Maharaj, it appears to be like that," they said. But then, why I'm telling you, nearby that Ajay River, there used to be, every year, there used to be a big mela, a fair. In that fair, all these bowls would come and they would play their music. You can understand, several bowls in one place at a time you can see. I'm so happy, last year, not last year, before that, before the uh, COVID came into Ireland, one of her devotees here, Juma Majumdar, she arranged for a bowl to be brought to uh, Dublin from India. And I attended his program. And I went to that hall and then heard him. It was so enchanting. The bowl music is something, if you take little interest in that and you get used to that music, you cannot forget that. It is folk music, is there, yes, but more importantly, the words that are used in the songs. The words will always tell you, "Look, where are you?" One song says, there are several songs are there. So one song I'm telling you, say, "Why are you going out?" The song says like that, it starts like that. And then it says, "Don't go out." Because what is there that you are expecting outside, which is not inside within you? Can you put your eyes inside? Can you turn your eyes inside? Like that, it goes on telling, and the bowl is go on telling. So in this way, the people of Vaishnavism used this bowl medium in such a way they could spread the name of Hari. They all take the name of Hari. So where is Hari? Hari is in Vaikunta, you may say, but they say Hari is within this body. Hari is sitting in the heart of your heart. That's how the bowl music comes. In that way, Vaishnavism spread the Vaishnavist philosophy among the common people who are illiterate, who have not read any scriptures, to that common people also. That's why Swamiji proudly says, in India, you go to any village and you meet any village man and ask him a spiritual question, a religious question, he will instantly answer you. But if you ask him how the electricity, AC, DC, what is the difference, he will not be able to tell you. But he can tell you what is Ramayana, what is Mahabharata. That's how the villages were being tied with one another. That intercommunication among the village was spread with this wonderful spiritual knowledge by these bowls. So Vaishnavism utilizes them very nicely. Even today, the bowls are there, and you can of course go to YouTube and listen to bowl music. It's enchanting music, I should say. Let us proceed for next week. ॐ कृपां कुरु महादेवी सुतेषु प्रणतेषु च चरणाश्रयदानेन कृपामयि नमोऽस्तु ते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु